What's going on, agents? It's Lieutenant Buzz Lightyear, and in today's Division video, I will be taking my YouTube channel and continued coverage of the Division in a direction I have never yet had to explore. Now let me explain this statement by first giving you a bit of a preface as to my expertise and history with the Division. I have been playing the Division ever since launch day, March 8th, 2016, and started publishing my weapon review series shortly thereafter. My YouTube channel has seen steady growth from my coverage of this one game, and after spending considerable amounts of time with my weapon reviews, I eventually moved into weapon vendor resets, build tutorials, best-in-class full breakdowns, best-in-class weapon archetype rankings, update change videos, and after switching over to PC late last year, even started including footage and thoughts from the various PTS events. In that time, I have posted over 165 scripted Division videos, spent hundreds, dare I say, into the 1,000-hour mark working on said videos, met and befriended many Division loyalists on various platforms, been invited to attend ETF Charlie, and even seen my small YouTube channel cross into the 1+ million view count. Now, I don't say all of this to pat my own back, and for those of you who know me or know of me, you know that is not my style. I am truly humbled by the attention my channel has garnered concerning the Division and would never do anything to betray the trust you, my subs, or even my casual viewers have placed in me. The true reason I needed to go through this long preface is for what I am about to say and the backing behind it. I have earned my place in the Division community as a voice of reason and positivity. I participate in the Twitch streams. I comment on and view every State of the Game address I can attend, converse back and forth with anybody that wants to discuss the Division over Twitter, answer comments on any of my YouTube videos with constructive and positive remarks, work with the devs to correct issues for future updates, and in general, worked actively to promote our beloved game. To reiterate my original statement, I have earned my right to comment, positive or negative, on our game, and my comments carry weight, and I take my reputation within our community very seriously. Now, all of this brings me to something that I believe from the bottom of my heart to be fundamentally and immorally wrong with the Division, and it is something that not many of you have yet seen or have not yet seen it for what it truly is. Showing up on your screens now is exactly what I'm talking about. This simple animation of unlocking this cache and the ensuing loot you gain from the cache is sending shockwaves through our community. Now, for those of you agents that have not yet had a chance to participate in the PTS, either on PC or on your various consoles, this is the newly introduced encrypted cache for purchase at the premium vendor at the terminal in the base of operations. This newly added loot cache received a little write-up in the original Update 1.7 PTS patch notes, and really no further mention has been made of it since. In order to open these encrypted caches, a player must first have a cipher key, which can be obtained by accumulating 10 key fragments or through the purchase and redemption of 150 premium credits, which translates to roughly $1.50 USD. Once you spend a cipher key and open an encrypted cache, it will reveal 3 randomized items ranging from weapon skins, backpack camos, premium vendor clothing items, or unique appearance items which can only be obtained through these encrypted caches. Unique appearance items from the encrypted caches are organized in collections that can be found in the Vanity tab, and once a collection has been completed, the agent will receive a reward. Now, I want to stop right here, and I want to take a large step back from all of these definitions and patch notes and really take a good hard look at what this new monetization system is and what it really represents, because this is a complete departure from what we currently have at the premium vendor. Right now, the current system consists of seeing the available vanity items, weapon skins, backpack camos, or emotes, having the ability to preview these vanity items directly on our character, and then making an informed purchase decision from there. What is being proposed for these encrypted caches is something completely different, and that is what I'm about to get into now. This new system breaks from the older and more transparent premium vendor purchase mechanics and has introduced into the Division loot gambling. Now, I know that word carries a lot of weight and negative connotations to it, so in order to clarify my statement, let's take a quick look at the true definition of the word gamble or gambling. I immediately took to the internet, typed into the search bar gambling definition, and this is what it produced. Number 1, play games of chance for money, bet. Number 2, bet a sum of money on a game of chance. And 3, take risky action in the hope of a desired result. Gambling thus requires 3 elements to be present: consideration, chance, and prize. And once I saw this new system being proposed for the live version of Update 1.7, I immediately started calling it RN Gambling, as in order to participate in this loot system, we as players must trust ourselves to the RNG loot system, and at its core, this is gambling, thus combined RN Gambling. Now, before you dismiss me and try to rationalize this away as just vanity items and they have no real effects on how powerful an agent is in, say, PvP or in the Dark Zone, you really need to listen to what I am about to say to you. You do not want this type of monetization system being introduced into our game, period. Let that sink in. Over 165 Division videos I have posted to my YouTube channel since launch day, and I have never told you, my viewers, what you need to think or do, but I am now. Now, I'm not just going to say something like that without first doing my research and offering alternatives to what I feel is a terrible design choice for this upcoming update, and I encourage you to follow along as I lay this out point by point. First, this RN Gambling system has absolutely no disclosures or odds of winning any of these unique loot items posted anywhere on the forums, patch notes, or even in the game prior to activating the keys. We as players have no idea how many different pieces are available for looting. What are the specific odds of winning or looting each piece? Are they the same for every unique vanity item, or do certain loot items have a higher rarity ranking, therefore making them harder to win? And finally, what sort of protections do we have against constantly receiving the same loot, cash after cash? Now, most popular gambling games here in the US, like blackjack, craps, or even the famous slot machines, have well-documented ranges of winning, and none, I repeat, none of these games ever show the player having a greater advantage of winning over the house. By participating in these RN gambling systems, you are blindly throwing your money at a game of chance you can't see, have no idea what you can win, don't know what your odds of winning are, and have no ability to sell or trade in the items you do not want. From my research, the only system in place to assist the players has to do with receiving duplicate items, but once again, it is not in your favor. Sources tell me that for every duplicate item you receive from an encrypted cache, the refund system will credit you back 3 pieces of a cipher key. Now, if you remember from our discussion earlier, it takes 10 key fragments to fully assemble one cipher key. So this means you will need to receive 4 duplicate items to finally receive enough key fragment refunds to fully assemble another key for use on the encrypted caches. Secondly, we are told that we can loot these key fragments throughout the game, I assume in daily missions or from random boss drops, and thus we have an alternative to using real-world money to purchase premium credits and thus redeem them on cipher keys. However, we once again have no disclosures on where to find these key fragments, what drop rates these key fragments have been set for, or if there will be limitations on how many fragments we can loot on a daily, weekly, or even monthly level. At this point, one can only assume that the drop rates for these key fragments will be set low in the attempt to frustrate players and therefore externally steer them towards the alternative of using their own money to purchase these cipher keys outright. If the in-game drop rates for these key fragments are set low, and knowing that it takes 10 of these key fragments to assemble a fully functioning cipher key, it could take a player hours of grinding and a bit of luck to finally have one cipher key to use towards an encrypted cache. Thirdly, as you can see, the ratings label on the back of the Division cover here in the United States is marketed to gamers the ages of 17 and up and has a rating of mature due to blood, intense violence, and strong language. It says nothing of online gambling, and even if Ubisoft were to amend its rating disclosures to include online gambling in the description, it would only apply to any new releases of the game from that day forward and would not apply to any existing copies sold since launch date. In addition, after doing a quick search on the internet, I found a minimum age to gamble in the United States chart, and it clearly shows that although states differ in the requirements, the minimum age to gamble here in the United States ranges from 18 up to 21. Fourthly, since you must be at least 18 years old to apply for credit in the United States, usually with a qualified cosigner like a parent or legal guardian, or 21 if you want to apply to independently get a credit card, any players in the US that are 17 will have to use a parent's or legal guardian's credit card to activate their online accounts for PSN or the Microsoft Network. This third-party credit card will also be needed to purchase items in-game like premium credits or DLC expansion packs. Now, I see no disclosures or notices being sent to these parents or legal guardians letting them know that you are planning on introducing virtual gambling into the division and that it involves unregulated microtransactions that can be charged to their credit cards. In addition, and let's be completely honest here, you know for a fact that a portion of your player base is clearly under the age of 17 here in the US or under 18 in most other countries around the world. Have you addressed the prepaid PSN or Xbox card loopholes to prevent these players that you have clearly allowed to play your game but are not of the correct age to actually purchase it? What is to stop a 14-year-old that owns the division from borrowing $20 from their parents, purchasing a prepaid PSN or Xbox card, redeeming that card on the respective platforms, using that money to purchase premium credits, and then participating in the RNG gambling portion of your game? And finally, who is in control of this system? More specifically, what guarantees do we have as consumers that the system will be monitored for fairness? Since none of us can see the programming, have time to monitor the algorithms of the RN gambling coding, or have access to the backdoor portion of this monetization system, what is to say that somebody on your side could not manipulate it? For example, if the dev team saw that there were a lot of tweets and videos concerning a specific piece of these unique vanity items that was considered more valuable than the others by the Division community, what is to stop you from logging into the backdoor and adjusting the sliders on that specific piece of gear to make it exponentially harder to win? The point being, we the players, your customers, your loyal player base, have no protections from you manipulating the odds of winning, and furthermore, we have no information or disclosures to help protect ourselves. Now, I know that was a lot to process at once, and this is obviously not the normal tone you are accustomed to seeing in my Division videos, but it needed to be said. So now that I've had a chance to voice my concerns, what could be done about this system to help us, the players, have a high level of protection against this RN gambling system while still allowing Ubisoft to turn a profit, which they have a right to do? And this really is the million-dollar question when it comes down to the future of the Division. Luckily for you and the overall length of this video, my remedies are much shorter than my list of concerns. Number 1. Since there seems to be no disclosures about these vanity item loot drop percentages, then ideally I would like to see this RN gambling system completely scrapped, and we stick with our present premium vendor system. Having the ability to see and preview what we intend to purchase really is the best and most transparent way of doing business with your player base. Now, I want to ask, why was all of this needed to get us to spend money? I try to do things by the old KISS principle, and for those of you who don't know of it, it stands for Keep It Simple, Stupid. There is absolutely no need to overcomplicate a process and spend countless hours trying to reinvent the wheel, so to speak, just to peddle vanity wares on your player base. I can't begin to think of the man hours it took to get this installed into the game, but it seems like such a waste of resources. Time was spent by the art department for the animations. Sounds would have needed to have been newly recorded for this short animation sequence. All of that artwork and sequences would have needed to be written to the game by the programmers. All of this would need to be approved by the legal team, and I'm sure there were countless drafts and redrafts of this RN gambling system before finally becoming the finalized product we now see. Was all of this really necessary? Number 2. Instead of implementing this system of randomizing the loot and offering encrypted caches, therefore bringing virtual gambling to the Division, offer 1 to 2 unique vanity items for sale each week, much like the Blueprint vendor. If they are quality products, I am sure the player base will be more than happy to slap down the necessary premium credits to purchase them. Furthermore, don't price these unique vanity items out of the realm of reality, but possibly 50 to 100 credits more than the standard items that are normally offered by the premium vendor. Case in point is your selection of emotes, and more importantly, how you offer them for sale. I constantly see players showing off their latest emote purchase in the terminal or after completing missions, and it has clearly been a successful and profitable business venture for you. We don't need games or gimmicks in order for us to be motivated enough to purchase your vanity items. If you bring quality items to the vendor week after week that are competitively priced, the player base will reward you with a steady and consistent flow of purchases versus the initial spike of profits and then plummet in sales you will see from this RN gambling system, especially when the player base figures out it is a ripoff to participate in this system in the first place. And finally, number 3. Keep the current system of keys and key fragments in place, but make these keys only obtainable by collecting key fragments through pickups, either from daily or weekly missions or possibly from exotic caches and or boss drops. Your system does have some positive aspects, and I like this portion of your proposed plan. This would further give the player base a reason to grind the daily missions and the desire to come back and play the game day after day. More playtime per week means more time invested and more interest in the division, which will further strengthen your premium vendor sales. Players will be more likely to purchase items at the vendor if they feel like the gaming experience is worthwhile. Ultimately, this will not only improve your sales at the premium vendor, but will go a long way to securing a large and loyal base that will continue with you once the Division is finally shelved and the Division 2 is launched. Why do you feel the need to jump into this RN gambling system at this point in the Division's life? It overcomplicates the process of buying and selling these vanity items and really brings into question legal, ethical, and moral standards towards your consumers and their rights and protections. Are you really ready to risk everything and betray the trust your loyalists have showed you over the last year and a half just to turn a quick profit? I respectfully ask for you to reconsider this thought process and deactivate this RN gambling system, as it is simply not needed and can potentially drive a divide between you and a large portion of your remaining player base. I hope that I have made a quality argument for why this RN gambling system is not needed, but before I reach the end of my video, I felt compelled to open up my heart just a bit and give this argument a personal touch. Addiction is a very real disease, and even though I personally have no vices, I have been around family members as they have slowly slipped into its clutches, and it is truly a heartbreaking process to see and endure. Watching a loved one slowly have their very soul ripped out due to addiction is something they and you will never fully recover from. Gambling is highly addictive, even if it is in the virtual realm, and in this case for vanity items. And it preys on and consumes many people as it feeds on their need to get that rush of the potential for winning big. Eventually, the need to feel that rush is all they think about, and they gradually need bigger and bigger spending amounts to get that same feeling of euphoria. Once it's out of control, gambling addictions can ruin a person, family unit, or household with devastating effects to all those involved. I feel so strongly about this matter that I took to the Ubisoft forum, something I rarely do, and I posted a condensed version of this video in print form, link in the video description below, and I asked others to comment and debate the subject. Now, shortly after posting my article, my forum's login was banned indefinitely, and my article was removed. A few hours after being banned, and then thanks to the efforts of Johan and Yannick, both Ubisoft employees, my account was reinstated and my article posted back up on the forums. Now, I was informed that this ban was not automated, but instead human error. And once again, thank Johan and Yannick, and would like to add that neither of these gentlemen had anything to do with me receiving this ban. However, it does pose the question of why I did receive the ban. I wasn't promoting gambling or directing others to participate in it. I was simply putting out there my viewpoints on the subject, and it earned me a potential lifetime ban from the Ubisoft forums. What it does show you is that this is an extremely sensitive subject and one that could potentially polarize the community even further than it currently is. Just to test my theories, I recently ran a 24-hour Twitter poll and asked any of my followers to vote, and as you can see from the results, 2 out of 3 voters say this new RN gambling system clearly has no place in the game. I would also like to reference a similar poll run by Upper Echelon Gaming, posing the same question, and it revealed the same results as my poll, but with an even heavier response towards not having it in the game. Even on my forums post, I rarely see anybody who says this is a good idea, and even when Yannick did post a response to my thread, it was quickly dissected and shredded by many different forum members, all of which felt this is immoral and ethically irresponsible for Ubisoft to install into the game. At this point, I feel that I have made my viewpoints known to what is morally and ethically wrong with this proposed RN gambling system. I've offered alternatives and strategies to still produce income for the game without the need for the shady gambling techniques, and I've even made a personal plea to stop this madness from being unleashed on the player base. For now, I'm going to go ahead and sign off, but would encourage you to continue this discussion in the comment section below, and I ask that you keep it civil and free of unprofessional and profanity-ridden statements. This possible installation of RN gambling into our game is far more serious than many of you know, and it therefore warrants more respect towards others and their viewpoints when commenting or responding to others. If you could take the time to rate the video, I would be extremely grateful. If you want some more Lieutenant Buzz Lightyear and my Division content in your lives, make sure to pound that sub button and follow me on Twitter at Lieutenant Buzz Lightyear. Please click on my Ubisoft forums post link in the video description below and take the time to comment and voice your thoughts on this subject. And remember, for my channel, likes, comments, subs are loved. Until my next The Division video, this has been Lieutenant Buzz Lightyear saying peace out.